Let me tell you how a single slip of paper taped to my cabin door blew up in a kind of neighbor war that ends with federal charges, a statewide audit, and one HOA president being led away in cuffs, screaming all the way, of course. You ever come home and just know the universe is about to hand you some wild new mess? That was me, rolling up Boone Ridge that cold Montana evening, headlights slicing through the pine shadows, tires crunching over gravel that hadn't seen company in days. I just escaped Seattle, concrete, blaring horns, folks acting important while staring at their phones, and pulled into where the lake wind hits you with a kind of honesty you can't buy, the air sharp with pine and snowmelt. I killed the engine, stretched, took a breath so deep I could taste the lake. This place, built a century ago by a man who swung his own axe, rebuilt by me when my hands still remembered hard work, never needed anybody's approval. Which is why that piece of paper stuck to the front door, flapping like it was trying to get my attention, immediately pissed me off and cracked me up at the same time. It was printed in that government font that practically screams, "You're in trouble," and it read, "Property of HOA. Unauthorized occupancy. Subject to removal." Then, scrawled underneath, "Karen Denton, President, Oak Shores HOA." I'll admit it, I laughed. Out loud. One of those deep, half-crazy laughs. Oak Shores HOA was new around here. A handful of fancy cottages on 8 acres I'd leased out years ago, just to keep the rest of my land safe from developers. Now, apparently, they decided to come for my cabin. I yanked the paper off the door, checked the back for instructions on how to summon the devil or pay tribute. Nothing but audacity. That's when I heard the electric whine behind me. Picture it, an HOA utility cart. Imagine a golf cart with a god complex, rolling up my driveway. Behind the wheel, Karen Denton herself. If you just imagine the stiffest posture, a face that broadcasts "I disapprove of fun," and a death grip on a tablet, you're right on the money. Next to her, some guy in a windbreaker, lake coordinator, which is just HOA for a guy who got a title at a meeting. She parks crooked, hops out, and marches right up. "Sir, you are occupying a restricted lakeside community structure without authorization." I leaned on the post, arms folded. "This is my home." She holds up the tablet like she's about to swat me. "This is community access property per Oak Shores, HOA bylaw number, built in 1905. I cut in. "My land, my name on the deed." She blinks, thrown off. "You can't expect me to believe that. This is for HOA recreation. You're standing 200 feet past your own property line," I reply. She glares at the lake guy, who fumbles out a laminated map from some website where trees look like green thumbprints. Karen demands my documentation, threatens to call the authorities. I just point to the granite boundary marker at the porch, an old stone, numbers carved, state crest clear as day. She stomps over, squints, and claims it's fake. I say not many people counterfeiting rocks these days. Her face turns the color of a busted generator, and she starts jabbing at her phone, dialing 911. I'm reporting an intruder. I just smile and step inside, picturing the call. "Hello, police?" A man's in his own house. "Send the cavalry." Sure enough, 20 minutes later, I've barely unpacked before I see 3 police SUVs crawling up the hill, plus a local news van. Always a bad sign. I step onto the porch as Karen, frothing at the mouth, points at me and yells, "Officers, arrest him. He's occupying HOA property and threatening the safety of our community." The deputy, clearly familiar with Karen's type, just raises an eyebrow and asks to see my papers. I hand over everything. Notarized ownership, land trust papers, maps with the governor's seal, deed history back to 1905. The lead deputy looks impressed. Didn't know anyone owned half the county. 92%. I correct him. Karen's still ranting about forged paperwork and conspiracies. The news crew's eating it up. The deputy finally says, "You're good, Mr. Maxwell." He's even a little jealous. Meanwhile, the news camera zooms in as Karen launches into some monologue about sovereign lakes, federal plots, and my apparent threat to humanity. The cops finally convince her to step back, but by the time the SUVs roll off, the only thing louder than the wind is the echo of her meltdown. Next morning, peace doesn't last. My phone explodes, friends, family, old co-workers, even my brother who never calls unless you want to borrow a chainsaw. Everyone asking, dude, are you in that viral lake house video? Sure enough, there I am, calm on the porch while Karen's hair is flying, her voice hitting Mariah Carey octaves about fraud and invaders. The comments online are brutal. HOA boss fight unlocked. Give this man the lake. If Karen wanted fame, she got it, just not the kind you can use in a campaign flyer. That morning turns into a parade of the curious. Hikers, locals, even a couple just wanting to see the crazy lady from TV. Then comes the first twist. A resident, nervous, clutching a dog leash with no dog, rushes up. Mr. Maxwell, I'm so sorry. Karen told us you were a squatter, that we had to defend our community. She warns me Karen's planning a meeting to expose my fraud. I grin. I'll look forward to seeing what she invents next. Then here comes the lake coordinator, clipboard in hand, gasping for authority. Per President Denton, all unauthorized persons must vacate. Your authority ends at the boundary stone, I tell him, the one you stood on yesterday. He flushes but presses on, threats of fines, civil action. I just keep walking. By noon, I'm leaning against a pine watching Karen's HOA meeting. Her standing on two patio tables, binder thick as a dictionary, waving around maps that would insult a crayon. She's raving about attacks on the community, forged documents, hostile takeovers. Then she rolls out a plastic crowd control fence, points it well inside my property, and says it'll block me out. That's enough. I walk down, boots crunching frost, crowd goes quiet. Karen shrieks, "You're not allowed here." I kneel, brush away pine needles, and tap the old boundary stone. Still my land. Gasps. Karen sputters. That boundary is fake. Been here since 47. If anyone tampered with it, it was time. The crowd laughs. She calls 911 again, screaming about an aggressive trespasser. Sirens in the distance. The HOA crowd starts to scatter, embarrassed. The deputy arrives, checks my documents' size, and tells Karen her lease is for 8 acres, none of them under her feet. She flips out, accuses everyone of conspiracy. He warns her, next false report, there be charges. Now the residents are looking at her like she just sprouted antlers. The lake coordinator wants to vanish. That evening, a middle-aged resident whispers to me, Karen's planning a restoration campaign. Meetings every night, drones, petitions. She's telling folks you're running drugs or smuggling. Sundown brings plastic barriers on my land, cardboard no trespassing signs, and drones buzzing my window. I call my attorney, Evie Bronson. Let me guess, she says, the HOA Queen's escalated. She's already got state environmental inspectors coming. Karen's new construction violates shoreline law. Messy for her before it's messy for you, Evie says, and I believe it. Next morning, the inspectors arrive, deadpan and done with this nonsense before Karen even shows up. They verify the boundary stone, untouched legit. Karen arrives with her followers, binder in hand, demanding I be arrested. The inspector tells her, you have no jurisdiction, and the map you sent is fake. She loses it. The inspectors order the barriers gone and open a review into the HOA. Karen storms off, promising lawsuits and emergency meetings on my land again. I ask. She freezes, stomps away, and right on cue, the drones come back. I film everything and send it to Evie, who calls it evidence of harassment. By the next morning, things have tipped from wild to dangerous. Evie arrives in person, calm as a bomb about to go off. A resident, pale and sweating, hands her a folder, receipts for shoreline access fees, all paid to Karen, thousands of dollars. Another brings a map, date stamped with the seal of a surveyor dead for 2 decades. Karen bursts out, accuses us of manipulating her people with fake evidence. Evie hands everything to the county prosecutor. Karen melts down. I am a legal authority. Finally, the sheriff's truck arrives. He isn't asking. He's telling her to come with him to the station. Next days, everything moves fast. The county schedules an emergency hearing. Karen shows up, lawyer in tow, white-knuckling a stack of forgeries. The judge takes one look at the official maps. Why is this signed by a surveyor who died 20 years ago? Karen is stunned. Her lawyer looks like he regrets going to law school. Evie presents evidence, fraudulent sales, false calls, everything. Judge says, this isn't civil. It's criminal. Sheriff enters, hands the judge a warrant. Karen, you can't arrest me. I'm the president of this HOA. Deputies lead her out for fraud, forgery, illegal land sales. The judge dismisses every HOA claim against me, orders a full state audit. News flies through Oak Shores like wind through dry brush. I drive home past residents gathering outside, looking like they just woke from a bad dream. The sheriff tells me, your HOA president left one hell of a trail. Not my HOA, I say. Fair enough, he grins. Deputies haul boxes of files, drones, fake ballots. One folder labeled Expansion Plan Phase 3, Karen's own notes, convince state officials, escalate if they refuse. Evie says she didn't get far. Far enough for prison, though. By evening, a state administrator arrives to dissolve the HOA. Residents watch as the sign comes down, some crying, not for Karen, but in relief. Next morning, the whole ridge feels lighter. The lake's still, skies so clear you'd think the world never knew trouble. I stand on the porch, coffee in hand, as Evie calls. It's official. HOA claims dismissed. Karen, 12 years, no parole. For her, that's eternity. I walk by the cottages, neighbors wave, apologize. Didn't know what she was doing, one says. Won't happen again. They're electing a Real board now. PBS comes for an interview. I just say, she crossed boundaries. You protected Mina. Residents hand me a plaque for the cabin. First time in years, I almost choke up. And as the sun drops, I walk the water's edge. No fences, no drones, no HOA patrols, just the cabin, the lake, and my land finally at peace. Funny, isn't it, how a single bad actor can nearly wreck a whole community, and how fast the fog lifts when folks wake up and push back. So, here's my question. What would you have done if Karen Denon came for your home? Stood on your porch, called the cops, tried to take what your family built? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Ever fought an HOA or tangled with a paper tyrant? Let's hear your stories. And if you think justice was served, don't forget to sound off below. Because sometimes the only thing louder than a Karen is a community finally finding its voice.